Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We had a bit of gap in before. The last webinar was a couple of weeks ago. So usually we don't have this much gaps between our webinars. Today, for a change, this time for a change, myself and Hermes was quite busy. So sorry for this gap in between. And today we have an interesting person and the major factors like you don't get to see many women in this field, and again youngster. She's just 21, she's from Mumbai, and she started her journey as a photographer 3 years ago when she got a camera as a gift from her mother when she turned 17. So very young, energetic, beautiful, and she knows what she is doing and she is passionate. So let's welcome Mahek and let's hear her story from her side. Okay. Hello, dear. How are
Hello,
you?
everyone. How are you, Nisha? I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you. So
So, hi,
I
guys.
know. Yeah. So how about starting with a small introduction? How you got into this and the rest of the story?
As you said, I started my wildlife photography journey a little over 3 years ago now. On my 17th birthday, my mom she gave me a DSLR camera. Before that, I used to do some amount of photography, but it always used to be from a phone, so it wouldn't always be that good. So after I got that camera, I think till date, the best gift I could have ever received is that DSLR. I mean, I have upgraded a body, I have upgraded a lens, but that camera is what got me to this. So I'm so thankful for my mom to give me that gift, and I'm so thankful for my parents to let me. It's not easy for them, to let a 17-year-old go wander around in a jungle, but they've done that, and I am so thankful to them.
That's great.
Yeah. So I've been traveling extensively throughout. I've completed all four corners of India now in the past 3 years. That includes for big cats. That includes birds, and well, especially for snakes. As the background shows, my favorite subject is snakes. I have some sort of obsession with them. And I absolutely love photographing them, searching for them, reading and studying about them.
That's great. I have no problem with snakes, but then I'm still scared of snakes.
That's a thing with a lot of people that say that, and then that's why I tell them that you have to come and you have to see it first, because according to me, as when we grow up, we're all born and brought up in cities, and for us,
Yeah.
anything that does not belong to mankind is just scary and dangerous. But once you
Yeah.
understand the species, once you learn the behavior, you realize that it's going to only react how you act towards it. So I
Yeah.
would even tell you, sometime when you're back in India, you should
Yeah.
definitely, we could probably go out on the field, and I would love to show you around with some snakes, and maybe we can, get you rid of your fear.
All right. I don't know whether it is my internet connection or yours.
It's a
I'm kind
little
of
laggy.
getting a voice break in between.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the screen is a little
All
laggy.
right. Okay. Okay. Could be mine or yours. Either way, I hope things will
Yeah.
go smoother after this.
Yeah.
How about you jumping into the presentation, dear?
Yes, I've made a very interesting, very long. I hope I don't bore you all. PPT, and I hope that you'll enjoy it, because it's pretty much the beginning of my journey till date. The stuff I've done, the stories that I've seen in the wild. Not all of them have always been, beautiful. As a wildlifer, you have to accept the fact that, the jungles are brutal as well. So yeah,
Yep.
let's jump into the slides, and
Great.
I would love to tell you all each story as and when how the slide goes.
We have a bunch of hellos from across the world. So, yes, we will be taking questions as we progress. So, let's get into the session. Yes.
So, first of all, hello everyone. I would like to extend my warm welcome to each one of you, and I would, of course, I have so much of gratitude for Paws Tales for giving me the opportunity to be here today, and I'm really grateful for them. Um,
But
so, for my
thank you for
introduction,
your
as I said,
time.
oh, of course, I absolutely love being here. I'm super excited.
We are
So,
too.
as I said, I'm a 21-year-old wildlife enthusiast, naturalist, and a photographer. I was born and brought up in Mumbai, which is one of the biggest concrete jungles in the world. I'm also currently studying psychology, which I'm doing through correspondence because I am in the field about 20 days a month. So it doesn't give me the time to actually, stay in college. I've been in this field for a little over 3 years now, and I do wish to spend the rest of my career in the field. I enjoy photographing big cats, birds, but my favorite subjects are snakes, which is not something everybody enjoy. In fact, even when I show people my the pictures of my snakes, they're like, "Oh no, no, please don't show it to me. I'm going to get nightmares in the night." And I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'm sorry." So on
That
my 17th
happens.
birthday, sorry.
I said that happens quite often.
Yes. So yeah. So as I said, on my 17th birthday, my mom she gave me a DSLR. So it was a Nikon D3400 paired with a 7300 lens. And a couple of months after that, a friend of mine, he suggested that you should do a wildlife trip. So I gave it a try. Of course, I always loved animals as a child as well. So it was definitely something exciting because I love being in the wild. So on May 10th, 2019, I went for my first safari. And on my very first safari in Kana, this was the sunrise and the sunset that I had experienced that day. And basically, after seeing this, I fell in love with the forest. My first safari itself gave me so much of peace, so much of belonging that. I don't have words to explain the kind of feeling that I was having at that point. So my first safari itself, we sighted this very young sub-adult called KD Male.
Uh-huh.
He was sitting in the bushes, and we were actually, it was time to exit. We had only about 25-30 minutes left for the safari to get over. So he was sitting
Okay.
in the bushes, and
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, the driver said, "Madam Tiger," and so he got up from the bushes and he
Mm-hmm.
came straight walking right like towards us. So my first ever sighting was a head-on, and
Oh, wow.
and I was so excited at that point of time. I My hands were shivering because obviously it's not every day. It wasn't every day that I would have seen a tiger in the wild. So these photos I've actually taken after a pretty long time, like after probably 3-4 minutes of him walking, because I was just so mesmerized by the tiger, by his beauty, just walking towards us. Of course, now this is not such a great picture. It was taken in low light, first time photographer. But these pictures, somehow, because it is my first tiger, because it is my first sighting, I absolutely love these pictures.
Great.
So after that, the next morning, when we headed for safari, early in the morning, around 6 o'clock, we sighted DJ female. So she was walking, and Chota Manna was walking right behind her. So at that point of time, DJ had just given birth to her litter. So he was, being very close to her. So you can see in the water, this was the Baba Tenga water body. She was drinking water. He was standing right behind her. So they gave us like a good show for 20 minutes. And then again, she walked past, and, they disappeared into the woods. Then we went for a nice round.
Yep.
We saw the driver was like, the sighting for the safari is done. Incidentally, we came back to the same water body at around 9 o'clock the same day, and there was a tiger sleeping. So the guide said, "Okay, madam, dekho tiger soya hai." Like a tiger is sleeping over there. And we were like, "Oh wow,
Okay.
one more tiger we are seeing," and it was pretty far away. Um, and then at some point, I thought that I don't think that there is just one tiger, because I could see two pairs of ears. Because as you can see, they're opposite. Chota Manna is sleeping this side, and DJ4, his daughter, is sleeping this side. So
Okay.
it is when she turned like this, we actually saw that, yeah, there are two tigers. So basically, this is Chota Manna's daughter from the previous litter. who now
Uh-huh.
the mother does not tolerate anymore. So he is sitting and
Okay.
chilling with the daughter, but every time the mother comes, it seems that they were fighting, DJ and DJ4.
Oh,
This is a behavior
okay.
that I found really cute, because this tells you that not only humans have feelings, even animals do have certain amount of feelings.
Yep.
So this again was a very special night. This was Kana itself. So being my first trip, the person who I'd gone with, he just asked me
Mm-hmm.
whether I wanted to do a night safari, and I said
Okay.
yes. Now, despite that, everybody told me that you're just wasting your money and you're just wasting your time, and night safari mein kuch nahi dikhta. You can't see anything in the night safari. You'll go and you'll come back with nothing. I said that's okay. It's my first time, and at that point of time, I was so much in love with the forest. I said, I don't mind. I'll go see the forest in the night and come. So, as everybody predicted, I didn't see anything. Like we didn't. There was no sighting. We were the only gypsy in
Oh.
the entire forest that day.
Oh.
While returning, we were just having
Uh-huh.
some discussion, and the driver suddenly screamed tiger. And this one, it was crossing. It was trying to cross the road, so it jumped onto
Uh-huh.
the road.
Wow.
It walked a little ahead. It looked at us, then it walked inside. So
Mm-hmm.
and kind of disappeared because night time, so we didn't have any light. So this driver he got so excited himself. The guy turns the vehicle and he puts it, like he faces it towards the thickets where the tiger has gone into. And he
Okay.
puts the car off, he puts the gypsy off, he puts the lights off, and he's like, Madam,
Mm-hmm.
abhi koi awaaz mat karna.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
so comfortable with this. There is no light. There's a tiger around us.
Okay.
So he's like, नहीं नहीं मैडम कुछ नहीं होगा आप शांत बैठे रहो कुछ नहीं होगा कुछ नहीं होगा.
Okay.
Then after 2 minutes, he just started the car, light still off. He takes the car
Uh-huh.
out of the bushes and he keeps it on the road. Now, as soon as
Okay.
he puts the light on, the tiger is looking at us on the road.
Wow.
I was
God.
like, okay. So all this time, the three of us in the gypsy have forgotten that we are photographers and that yaar photo bhi leni hai. Like we are just looking at the tiger. We're all like, oh my god, tiger, tiger. Then the the driver realized. He said, "Madam, photo lo." He said that, "Ma'am, take a photo. What are you doing?" So I'm struggling with my camera. I have no idea how to use it in the dark. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? She said, "Arey madam, आपके पास phone होगा अच्छा. You might be having a nice phone. Just remove it, take a picture." So these are actually pictures
Okay.
taken with my phone. Like
Okay. Yeah.
So after this, the tiger was looking at something.
Mm-hmm.
It stayed on the road for a few seconds. We followed it. It was
Mm-hmm.
walking on the road, and then it disappeared
Mm-hmm.
into the the left side. It vanished. So he's
Okay.
turning towards me and saying, "Ma'am, do you still want to track it?" I said, "No, buddy. I don't want you going into the bushes again. Let's just go. We're done."
Okay.
But the next morning, when we went to the
Mm-hmm.
safari gate,
Mm-hmm.
every guide and every driver were at my gypsy saying, "Ki madam, kal ka photo dikhao. Madam, kal." Like nobody could believe that we had seen a tiger in the night. I was like,
Okay.
boss, we have. And not to wonder that, imagine if we hadn't taken that picture.
Yeah. It would have been people,
Nobody would have believed us.
believed it. Yes.
Yeah. So, of course, after Kana, I came back home. I was studying a lot about, tigers. I was reading. I started following a few personalities on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
Googling them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went for my second trip to Tadoba, October 2020, for the season opener. Now, out of
Mm-hmm.
seven safaris,
Mm-hmm.
six were dry.
Mm.
And
Okay.
in just one safari,
Mm-hmm.
we sighted Matkasar. Now, he is such a
Okay.
beautiful tiger, even till date. Now, of course, he's become much older. He's injured as well. He's got a big cut on his nose. But back then, there were about 40 to 45 gypsies because season opener time, there's a mad rush in every park. So anybody who's gone to Tadoba, they know that there's a crocodile breeding center. So he goes behind
Oh
that,
yeah.
and I said, "Finish. This guy is not coming out." And he came out, and that's when I got the shot in the left. And he
Uh-huh.
walked along the road, and it was a brilliant show for 2 hours. And
Wow.
I loved it. That one sighting was enough. Like it was okay that
Compensated.
six safaris went blank,
Mm-hmm.
but that one safari was enough.
Mm-hmm.
So this was in October. In November, then I planned a trip to Nagzira.
Mm-hmm.
So Nagzira, we were staying inside the forest. I don't know if it's still open, but at that point of
It
time, they
is.
had this. It is okay. So at that point of time, you could actually live inside the forest. Now outside the room, there was a machan.
Mm-hmm.
So I would sit on that
Okay.
machan after every safari, and
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
look at the area and everything. Again, we didn't have very good sightings. This was the only one sighting, and this was also
Okay.
such that there was a mount, and the leopard had just crossed and went behind the mount. So the
Okay.
guide said that tiger. So I
Oh.
was like, "Ki Nagzira tiger is a little difficult." So I said, "No, no, it would be a leopard." So he said, "No, it
Mm-hmm.
was full of muck." I said, "Okay,
Okay.
if it's got muck, then it's probably not a leopard because leopards don't get in muck."
Yeah. Yeah.
When it came out the other side, it was a huge male. So this picture
Oh.
actually has been taken from quite a distance. Now, where the
Uh-huh.
leopard was like a little ditch. So it
Okay.
walked from there, it climbed up the tree, and it's on eye level right now because it has climbed really high. That is the only one sighting that I got.
Okay.
But yeah, but when
Okay.
before we were before we were checking out, I remember sitting on that machan, and I said to myself that I don't want to do these 2 3 days trips. Like I want more than this. And incidentally, on that trip, I met this
Mm-hmm.
amazing naturalist from Tadoba. He's been studying the lineages of the
Mm-hmm.
Tadoba tigers for 10 years now. He's even written a book about them. So
Oh,
we got talking, and he had
wow.
this idea for a wildlife tourism company. And so he asked me if I would like to be a part
Mm-hmm.
of it. And of course, there was I did not even think twice. I just said yes. So that's how in June 2020, our wildlife tourism company
Mm-hmm.
Hiss and Croak was established.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So once this happened, I was
Mm-hmm.
once the lockdown kind of eased out in 2021. We were traveling a lot,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
we hosted a number of
Yeah.
guests. I was doing roughly 10 to 15 safaris per day. So I've
Mm.
got a lot of stories from then, and I would love to share it with you all.
Thank you.
So this is Bhima from a buffer in
Uh-huh.
Tadoba.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the first look at it, it looks
Mm.
like it's father and son,
Yeah.
but it's not the case here. In this picture, Bhima is actually the elder brother of this
Mm.
particular male cub. So Bhima stayed back. He did not separate from his mother, Cornpatlin, and he
Okay.
was very often seen taking care of the cubs, the current litter
Wow.
cubs. So she had two males, and you
Uh-huh.
could see Bhima playing with them, mock charging. He was basically teaching them how to be, uh, you know, and
Yep.
every time she would go for a kill, she would not be there for a few days. He would be there, he would be taking care of them, and he was extremely protective about them. Like,
That's great.
this is the kind of look he would give a gypsy if they made the slightest of noise. He was that protective about the cubs.
That's nice.
Yeah. So again, see, it's a question that why the mother and even the father, because it was summertime,
Mm-hmm.
very often you could see the father, the mother, Bhima himself, and the two cubs sitting in the exact same place. And usually, even if the mother, okay, does tolerate the adult cub, we were all wondering why is the father okay with it. But somehow, they were doing it. That family was just, it was a beautiful scene because you could see three adult tigers and two cubs. It was a wonderful, wonderful scene.
Are they still together?
No, so that was that summer of 2021. After monsoon of
Mm-hmm.
2022, we haven't seen Bhima. He's
Okay.
probably left the territory because there are a lot
Mm-hmm.
of other male young males roaming in that buffer. So it would have been a lot of competition for him. So he probably would have just left the territory.
Okay.
Yeah. So this next picture is a cub from Jalana. This
Mm-hmm.
is a 6 month old cub, approximately, and
Mm-hmm.
this kill that has happened, it has not been made by any leopard. So what had happened was two male Nil guys had fought, and with the
Okay.
injuries, this particular
Uh-huh.
male Nil guy had died. So
Oh.
what was happening was all of the leopards were coming and claiming it. So
No.
one of these days we had this half day safari. So after everybody
Mm-hmm.
left, we just sat at a distance from the kill, Now we knew the
Mm-hmm.
leopard was there. This cub was there from morning because at 7 in the morning, my colleague he saw the tail swish like that somewhere back in the bushes. But because there were so many gypsies, he wasn't coming ahead. So once everybody left, we took like a nice good distance and we sat for a good 45 minutes. So after that, the cub comes and he's very slowly coming, very cautious about everything. Now he was coming from this side, and over here there was a mongoose at the kid. So as soon as the leopard came, he saw the mongoose. The mongoose saw the leopard, and they both sprung like that. Like they got so scared, and they both just they sprung and they ran away.
Wow.
So it took another 45 minutes then for this cub to come back to the kill. So this picture actually was taken when our breakfast came, and the guy who had come
Okay.
with it, he came in an electric gypsy. So it didn't make a lot of noise, but the leopard kind of got alert about it. So he stood up, and he's only standing on his hind legs in this image. So
Oh,
he
that's
looked at
great.
the yeah. So he looked at that gypsy once. He looked at us, and that's when I'd taken this picture. So this is another
Beautiful.
tiger from Tadoba. Her name is Choti Rani, and she is my
Mm-hmm.
favorite tiger in Tadoba. I think my favorite female. So this was the time when
Okay.
this was my first sighting of her. She was sitting behind. There was a mount, and she was sitting behind it. She was visible, but it wasn't a good enough angle to take a picture. So none of us were taking any pictures. So she sat for a while, and then she got up. And as soon as she got up, she started walking towards our side. And our guide and our driver, they got a little uncomfortable. They were saying something to each other. So I said, "Ki, kya hua? What happened?" So he's saying that, no, ma'am, sometimes she charges at gypsies, if she gets irritated, if, agitated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, fine. So my colleague said, do one thing, nobody move, everybody just sit down. And there was this other family as well, who there was a couple and there was a young child with them. So,
Mm-hmm.
we told them all to sit down. So
Mm-hmm.
she came up to the mount. That's when this picture is taken. She came
Yeah.
down the mount, she sniffed the tree, she marked her territory, and she
Mm-hmm.
very peacefully walked away. She didn't even bother looking at us a second time.
Okay.
So that day I realized that when you respect an animal, when you give it its space, it is
Mm-hmm.
not going to harm you in any way.
That's true.
That's a very important lesson that she taught me that day. She was so calm, and the guide and driver could not believe it. They were saying, "Arey, nahi, madam, she charges very often," and that day even
Mm-hmm.
they were surprised. So we told them as well that this is what happens if you sit quietly, you don't have any movement. There is no reason for her to charge at you.
Yeah.
So
And it's a beautiful pic.
thank you. Yeah, this again, it's a very low light picture. This was the gate was 5 minutes from us.
Mm-hmm.
So probably the sun had already set. A very, very low light picture, but still one of my favorites. It has been the display picture of my laptop from the longest time.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. This is Jarni from Ali Janja, again Tadoba. So she's had a rough couple of months. She had
Mm-hmm.
her litter with Mowgli. Mowgli is actually very well known for his size. We very fondly call him Chota Hathi, as in small elephant. So she had cubs with him, and she had three cubs. At the same time, Chota Matka, he got in the territory. He ended up fighting with Mowgli and injuring Mowgli very badly.
Oh,
So Mowgli kind of had to start dodging him because Mowgli was at a point where he would have died. He was at
oh.
absolute starvation. Uh, he was just surviving on water. So he had become very thin, very frail. When I had seen him during that period of time, he was walking on the road when my gypsy just turned on that road, and from behind he actually looked like a female. That is how small his body had
Oh.
completely shrunk. So at that point of time, he was in no position to, guard his mate or his cubs. So you can see in this picture, she's got a little cut on her shoulder.
Yep.
So this actually happened because of a fight with Chota Matka. So
Oh.
once Chota Matka got her mate out of the way, he started following her with her scent. At that point of time, she had three cubs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at some point, he's been able to find her, and
Mm-hmm.
he killed one cub, unfortunately, and injured her very badly.
Uh-huh.
I was there, so at that point of time, I was visiting that buffer almost every day, and
Uh-huh.
she wasn't even able to keep her forelimb down. Like she this limb of her was not going down. And then she just kind of disappeared for about 6 to 7 days, and we were all very worried. We thought, we were all having the worst thought possible.
Yep.
But then we somebody finally sighted her, and
Mm-hmm.
she was only with one cub. This one, the
Oh.
one that is left, and this very very shy cub.
Uh-huh.
So then what happened was, when this picture was taken, she was
Mm-hmm.
hiding behind that mount where
Mm-hmm.
Chota Matka hadn't reached yet. So what she
Okay.
did is, because he was still following her, she left
Mm-hmm.
the this cub for 4 days. So after the first and second day, we thought she's not coming back, because only this cub was over there at the water body. There was no sign of the mother. You could see that this one was, eagerly searching for the mother, because when you would come into the forest, like if you were the
Mm-hmm.
first gypsy to enter the forest, you could see like the cubs pug everywhere, but you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't see the cub. It's hiding behind, and there was
Yeah.
absolutely no sign of pug marks. So, we were all so upset. We thought that, she had abandoned, which happens because sometimes the males, they are so much, they kind of, they try to courtship so much with the female that
Yeah.
when the female refuses, the males get very aggressive. So
Yeah.
sometimes, for females, in order to save their own lives, they have to, abandon their cub. And we thought that is exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So for 4 days, we saw this one alone at that water body. And on
Mm-hmm.
the fifth day, she came back,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a huge relief for us. So what she had done was, she left this cub, she mated with Chota Matka in order to get him off her back.
Oh,
So when she had
okay.
mated with him, he was no longer following her.
Okay.
So this was something this was when we noticed what had happened, when we realized, we were completely awestruck, like the kind of love she has for the cub. Like
Yeah.
she even left it alone for 4 days. That poor thing survived. She mated with Chota Matka and came back to the cub. It's not like she mated with Chota Matka and then didn't come back to the cub. She came back, and a friend of mine has the video of them actually meeting. It was a
Okay.
very beautiful scene.
I'm sure it is.
So this is again very nice, sweet story from Gir. So this cub,
Okay.
there was the female, the mother of the cub, the
Mm-hmm.
female sister, this cub, and the brother who was sitting right in front. So they were
Mm-hmm.
all at a water body when this young male came and
Mm-hmm.
kind of attacked them.
Oh,
So the four of them just scattered.
okay.
Now for the male, luckily he ran where his
Mm-hmm.
mother ran, and the
Mm-hmm.
female ran the opposite side. So
Okay.
she got lost, and for a month she had got lost. And in Gir, you have people, lion keepers, who stay with like there's one or two people with every pride of lions
Okay.
that are there in Gir. So even they thought that it's not possible, because at such a young age, any medium sized mammal could
Mm.
you know be fatal to
Yeah.
her. But a month later, they found her. She was, of course, very skinny and very weak. But they found her, and they kind of nudged her, gave her way to back to her mother. So this
Okay.
picture was taken a week after that. You can
Okay.
see, of course, the brother is not in focus, but you can see the way he's just looking at us.
Yeah.
And he was very, very cautious about anything or anybody that went around his sister. So even when they got up
Ah,
and they walked away, he got up first. He
okay.
came to the road. He looked at us for a couple of seconds. He looked back at her. That is when she got up and she came behind him.
Okay.
Brothers love.
Yeah.
This is a leopard from Tadoba. She's in the core, and I think she could be one of the most bold
Mm-hmm.
leopards in India. So that particular day, it was a
Okay.
summer afternoon, and there was no tiger sighting.
Mm-hmm.
And one gypsy
Okay.
was walking, like she was walking head on for about a kilometer. And post
Mm-hmm.
that, all the gypsies, they heard the news, and in a line we had about 45 gypsies and four
Okay.
canters, two here and two there.
Okay.
Like it was like a whole train. And I was wondering,
Okay.
yeah, what is this leopard going to come now? She's going to run away. But
Mm-hmm.
she was bothered. So she's come, she's walked. She crossed from right in front of my gypsy, the bonnet. She
Mm-hmm.
came this side, she climbed up a tree, she's looking here, she's looking there. She's least bothered. She's not even looking at one gypsy. And trust me, when there are 45 gypsies, there is also a lot of noise, because not everyone is a
Yeah.
wildlifer there. A lot of people are there for picnic. So when they see an animal, they're
Yep.
making all the possible, noises, the talking, and she's least bothered. She's not even looking. She's looking like here, like this, looking there, licking her paw, very happy. Then so
Mm-hmm.
for 2.5 hours we are just looking at her. Okay, at one point she came, she
Mm-hmm.
sat right next to my gypsy. So this picture, at that point of time I didn't have my 200
Mm-hmm.
500. I had my 7300 lens,
Okay.
and this picture has been taken at 70 mm.
Uh-huh.
So you can imagine how close she was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for 2 hours we were just looking at her, and nobody realized that she kept on doing phlegm in response. Then she climbed
Oh.
up a very high tree, and we were all looking at her. And then somebody noticed some movement down. And
Uh-huh.
initially we thought that it must be some deer or something. But when we actually looked, Blackie was there.
Okay.
So to think that the Black Panther
Oh.
was there the entire 2 hours, but nobody bothered even looking at him because we were so busy looking at her.
Oh.
This is a picture. So Nature in Focus has featured this image, and this picture was taken on 31st January 2021. So we were all having dinner, and the resort we were staying at,
Mm-hmm.
they had a couple of spotted owlets as their residents. So this one was
Okay.
one of them, and they were very bold. Like they would sit on top of your hut,
Oh.
So incidentally, that day during dinner, I had my camera with me, and I
Okay.
suddenly heard a spotted owlet call. So
Uh-huh.
I took my camera and I rushed towards the place, and
Okay.
I took one picture, and this is the picture that came out. So I
Okay.
was looking, I zoomed into in my camera. I'm looking. I'm saying, "Oh wow, what a nice picture! I've got such. The eyes are so clear." And then I said, "One second, it's got something with it." So
Okay.
that got it took me a couple of seconds to even notice it.
Okay.
And by the time I could look at it again, the
Mm-hmm.
entire rat was in its mouth. Only the tail was outside. So I do have another picture. Unfortunately, I haven't put it up here, but you can only see the tail. So it looks like it's eating a snake, but it's actually a rat.
Okay.
So that day,
Interesting.
dinner was served to both me and to the owlet.
Lucky you.
So these are a few more pictures from that trip. So this is,
Uh-huh.
as I said, on the left. That's how it is. It used to sit on top of the room. And I waited for some time to get this shot because it was a little shy. It was going inside, and when it would come out, it would look around to check if there's anybody. That's when I got the shot. It took me quite some time, but it's one of my cutest frames, I would say.
It is. Owls are always fascinating, especially the way they turn their head and the eyes, everything is so
Yes.
beautiful.
So I am obsessed with owls. I do not think I love any bird more or as much as I love owls.
I can feel it.
So are there any questions, or can I go on with my slide?
Uh, you can go on with your slide. I think there are maybe more than 100 messages so far, but it's all about appreciation from across the world, from your friend circle, from our followers, from India,
Okay.
from some other part of the world as well. So, yes, people are enjoying it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so now coming to my main subject, which is snakes.
Hmm.
Now, growing up in a
Okay.
city, it's not very often that even you even see snakes rather.
Hmm.
So, but the thing is that while I was working in tiger reserves, I kept
Hmm.
reading about snakes, and the more I read about them, the more I got engrossed in them. And
Hmm.
so my friend, he does a lot of rescue calls in and around the villages, and if there's any snake that enters a resort, so I make sure to always accompany him.
Okay.
And I remember my first ever rescue call with him. We
Uh-huh.
got a call somewhere around afternoon, and
Hmm.
it was the resort owner. He said that, you know what, come quick, there is a snake in my restaurant.
Hmm.
So of course we rushed, and it turned out to be a buff type keelback. And
Okay.
after rescuing it, it was such a calm snake. So buff type keelbacks are actually very very calm snakes, unlike the
Uh-huh.
checkered keelbacks. Checkered keelbacks are really bitey. But these particular buff stripe keelbacks, they are very, very calm. They're
Mm-hmm.
non-venomous, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't even bother trying to bite you,
Okay.
so after I
Okay.
saw that, I fell in love with snakes, because back here in the city, every time we would see a snake. Now I live very close to a little a little patch of forest area. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I have seen a couple of snakes here, and every time that I had encountered or I had seen snakes, it was always like, oh no, this is grave danger. And I understand that there are a lot of snakes that are venomous around and that we have to be careful.
Yeah.
But after seeing this, a lot of my perspective for this particular, it just changed completely.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So after that incident, I started reading a lot about snakes. I learned how one is different from the other, how to differentiate whether it's a non-venomous snake or a semi-venomous snake or a venomous snake, because that is the most important thing. People think that
Uh-huh.
rescuing should not be that difficult. The
Okay.
difficult part is identifying the snake, because only then can you handle and rescue it carefully. Otherwise
Yeah.
you are just endangering yourself, you are endangering the people around you in case the snake gets out of hand, and you are also, of course, endangering the snake. So
Yeah.
according to me, the first thing that you should do if you're interested in snakes is learn how to differentiate between one from another. Now India has more than 300 species, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not an easy task. But
Yeah.
if you are interested in it, it's not that difficult either. Like,
Yeah. So,
so
how many who have seen so far when it comes to snakes? If India
I
got
have seen
300.
a total of 56 individual snakes,
Okay, great.
from central India, from northeast India, from north India, and from south India.
In 3 years span?
Yes.
Great.
So this is a spectacle cobra and a saw scale viper. So, the spectacle cobra is on the left, the saw scale is on the right.
Okay.
Um, then there is the Russell's viper and the common crate. So these four snakes sum up to be the big four in India. Basically,
Okay.
these are the snakes. They are venomous, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
these snakes are the ones that sum up to the most amount of fatalities per year in India, which is why they are named the big four.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great info.
So since I started, coming across snakes so often, that's when I
Mm-hmm.
actually started photographing them. Before that, I was
Okay.
just, looking at them, and, then if I would see a particular species of snake, then I would go and read about it. But
Mm-hmm.
then once I started, seeing them more often, I started photographing them as well. So this is a
Okay.
slug eater. This is from Northeast India. Then there's the Pope's
Uh-huh.
Pit Viper, again from Northeast India.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. So my first herping expedition. So apart from just rescuing, now I was at a point. So this was in 2021. I was at a point where I
Mm-hmm.
just, I wanted to actually go out and explore. I just didn't want to see and photograph the snakes that I have to wait for as an opportunity. So of course, monsoon is the peak time
Mm-hmm.
for herping. Herping is basically when you go into like a jungle and search for the snakes.
Okay.
So I asked one of my friend that, what is a good place for hopping in around Mumbai, because at that point I did not want to go too far.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a team, so all of us went, and this was my first expedition. So we found a bamboo pit viper that's on the left, and to the right there is a vine snake.
Mm-hmm.
And the bamboo pit viper, a couple of months later, got featured by Nat Geo on their Instagram page. So
Wonderful.
that trip,
Congrats.
thank you. That trip itself was, it changed my entire perspective towards snakes, because I always thought that, these snakes, these venomous snakes must be huge. But this guy was like this much. And I was like, it's so cute how, they look scary, but they're actually not. You just have to understand them.
Yeah.
So after my trip to the place near Mumbai, we
Mm-hmm.
went to. Now in Amboli, you have a couple of species. It's a typical rainforest. It's on the way to Goa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually called Amboli Ghat, but it's got a lot of reptiles and amphibians there. So when we went there, we sighted the Bedom's cat snake. We sighted three Malabar pit vipers. Actually, this is just one
Uh-huh.
of them.
Uh-huh.
And we sighted also the Malabar gliding frog. Now, the picture on the left is taken during the daytime. So these frogs are
Mm-hmm.
nocturnal. So during the day, they stick to a leaf and they sleep. So first of
Okay.
all, it is very difficult for you to sight them because
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah.
completely camouflaged.
Yeah.
And the second picture was taken in the night when they're nice and active. So it
Mm-hmm.
actually took me 2 years to take a picture, take this particular frame, and
Uh-huh.
the frame on the left, I took it on the day of my birthday. So it was
Great.
probably the best I could give myself.
Nature's gift for you.
Exactly. Yes, I could say that absolutely. So again, since I had just started and post lockdown, since there was so much of traveling left to do,
Mm-hmm.
a week after Ramboli, we traveled to Himachal Pradesh because we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see snakes of different altitudes, because over there the snakes are completely different from what you find in central India.
Okay.
So we went there. So we had a team with us who knew
Mm-hmm.
they were studying snakes,
Mm-hmm.
and we found this kukri snake, and they said
Okay.
that this is the common kukri snake.
Okay.
And with a glance, we knew that this was not the common one, because the
Mm-hmm.
difference is that this one had a lot of bands. So
Okay.
we figured that this is not uh, the common one. The
Uh-huh.
person who was with us, so he was doing his PhD, and a couple
Okay.
months later, he described this snake as a new one, which is now it is called Chura Valley Kukri snake.
Oh.
So, of course, the locals have seen that snake before, but it is
Mm-hmm.
kind of nice to know that I was the first one to see it and actually realize,
That's
that it is.
wonderful.
Yeah. So again, so every snake that I saw, it just got me more and more engrossed, and I just fell more and more in love with snakes.
That's amazing.
So these are the other two species we had seen. We'd seen a Himalayan trinket, and we had seen a beautiful black-headed royal snake.
Wow.
So after that, the following month, we went to Northeast India for a 15-day long
Mm-hmm.
expedition,
Oh.
and we saw these really rare snakes. So these Assamese cat snake and Zos wolf snake, they are both pretty rare. The cat snake is actually just about this much. You can easily if you don't know, or if a person does not know about the snake, you can very easily mistake it for a worm. It is that tiny,
Oh.
that small, that thin, and also that rare, but it is so beautiful. I mean, if you look at the eyes, you can it's a
Yeah.
wonderful.
Is it venomous or non-venomous?
It's a mildly venomous snake, so it has no medical value. I mean, if it bites a human, nothing will happen. But then again, this
Okay.
one is so small, it cannot open its mouth enough to actually bite you or grab you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So in Mizoram, I was
Oh.
also yeah. So I was also fortunate enough to see two king cobras, and this is
Okay.
actually a king cobra hatchling. It's just a couple of days old, probably a
Okay.
week or two old.
Oh.
So what had happened was, those guys had got a rescue call,
Mm-hmm.
wherein somebody from the field. So king cobra is the only snake in the world that makes a nest. So that guy
Okay.
had a nest. He had a king cobra nest in his farm field itself.
Oh.
So he called these guys and they rescued, and of course they had to get the snakes. Now these guys were experts, so they knew absolutely what they were doing. They had a whole incubation center.
Mm-hmm.
So when they had about 32 of these snakes. So I've seen 32,
Oh.
king cobra babies.
Ooh. Okay.
Well, yeah, but they have the aggression of just an adult. There is no difference. I can tell you that. They are king in true sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
So this is another picture from Northeast, the Pope's Pit
Uh-huh.
Viper.
Okay,
This
it's
is
an
one of
amazing
my
one.
favorite snake frames.
It looks like a picture taken from some English movie.
Yeah. So a lot of people have told me that is this real? Did you like make this on the computer? And I was like, no, boss, this is a real snake. Trust me. That I've taken so many pictures of this snake because I could not believe how beautiful it is. And
It is.
pit vipers, basically, if you don't disturb them, pit vipers will stay in one place for 3-4 days. Like, they will not move as long as you don't touch them. They will not move. For 3-4 days, they'll just be sitting in one position. So
Okay.
this one was just, sitting, and I was just like, okay, you know what, I'm going to take every possible angle of yours. And I had actually filled up my SD card that day, and all these pictures I have taken with a basic 1855 lens.
Wow, that
So
means you were
when
really
people ask
close.
me, yeah, I wouldn't, that's not something that I would suggest people to do. But then again,
Yeah,
I know the behavior of snakes, so I know the
yeah,
distance, I know how much is their strike range as well. So
yeah,
of course, all safety precautions I take. There is no point of me photographing anything where I am actually endangering myself, or of
yeah,
course the animal.
yeah.
This is a green cat snake. So this is a juvenile. The entire
Mm-hmm.
body turns green. At this point, only the head is green because it is
Yeah.
a juvenile. As it grows,
Okay.
the whole body is going to become green.
Beautiful.
Again, the pop spit viper.
Okay.
So again, while I was reading about snakes, I also got
Mm-hmm.
interested in marsh crocodiles, and we have a couple of them in. We have a lot of them actually in Tadoba. So I used to see them in the
Mm-hmm.
lakes, and I said that maybe some point I want to also do a walk for them. So
Mm-hmm.
winters is an excellent time for crocodiles because they're out basking, especially in cold
Uh-huh.
places like Gujarat and Rajasthan. They are out basking, so that's the
Mm-hmm.
perfect time to take pictures of them. So
Okay.
crocodiles are very opportunistic predators. They will scavenge also. They will hunt as well, and
Mm-hmm.
their skin is extremely sensitive. So any small vibration in the water, they feel it. That's how it
Okay.
makes that easier for them to hunt. So I have a
Cool.
video in the next slide. But if
Uh-huh.
anybody does not like, a little bit of a gross content, I would suggest you look away just for 2 seconds. I'm very sorry, but it's also something I've added it here. So viewers, if any one of you don't want to see any gruesome thing, just please turn away for a minute. That's all.
Okay.
So in this, you can see that it is eating a cow or maybe a buffalo's limb, which a farmer would have
Yeah.
thrown in the water. So over there, that's how they dispose of their cattle, their
Oh,
dead cattle. They just throw it in the lake for the crocodiles.
okay.
This
Okay.
is one short video that I was able to get.
Oh, great. You can see it's eating and it's not that
Yeah,
bloody.
yeah. So now, how to find snakes? So
Okay.
in a country like India, where snakes are worshipped and at the same time extremely feared, one
Yeah.
might wonder where to find a snake. Or, in
Yeah.
my opinion, the usual people would be asking where to avoid it. So,
Mm-hmm.
snakes like the common snakes, like a checkered keelback or a buff striped keelback or a rat snake, a cobra, all of these are usually found in human habitats because their main diet is rat. And
Okay.
humans, of course, they make garbage, and garbage attracts rodents.
Yeah.
So, in order to actually avoid snakes, the number
Mm-hmm.
one thing is to keep your surroundings clean, because that's
Yep.
how you don't attract rodents. That's how you don't attract snakes.
Yep.
Now, this is just we're talking about in cities, but that's not where you
Mm-hmm.
only find snakes. You find snakes
Mm-hmm.
mostly in a lot of places. Like snakes, you find in the coldest of places. You'll find them in the warmest of places.
Yeah.
So here are some examples. So like pit vipers. This is a Malabar pit viper.
Yeah.
Sorry, so Malabar pit vipers are arboreal and nocturnal snakes. They are mostly rainforest species.
Mm-hmm.
They are active. They are a venomous species, and they hunt by biting the prey, and they actually let the prey go,
Mm-hmm.
and because they know that the prey is going to die eventually.
Yep. Yep.
So they are usually active in the night because.
Mm-hmm.
So this picture has been taken in Amboli. As I said, in Amboli, the frog is mainly active in the night.
Okay.
So for sake of hunting, they are mostly active in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Wine snake, again, they are arboreal snakes,
Mm-hmm.
but they are more active during the day. So during the day, if you actually go ahead and you search, if you know that there is a place where you can find wine snakes, you'll see a
Mm-hmm.
wine snake on a very thin branch, and
Okay.
it's literally like hiding in plain sight. You cannot see it unless
Okay.
you really focus into it and look at it
Mm-hmm.
and say, oh, there is a snake there.
Yeah.
So even their main diet is frogs and lizards, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even other snakes.
Okay. Wow,
And then
that's
there is a
beautiful.
common, yeah. So actually, none of these pictures are mine. These pictures are my colleagues. I've just
Oh,
borrowed
okay.
them. Uh,
Okay.
yes. Cat snakes are mildly venomous, but they are very often confused with the saw scale viper, which is one of the
Mm.
four. So,
Okay.
since they are mildly venomous, they don't have any medical importance to humans. You're not going to die if a cat snake bites you, but
Okay.
they are very often killed because they are mistaken as a saw scale viper.
Oh,
Mostly in
okay.
villages when people, because villagers have this few things. Ki yaar, nag hai. I mean, there's a cobra, there is a saw scale viper. These are dangerous ones. We have to kill them. So,
Okay.
but for cat snakes, the very distinctive differentiation you can make is there's a Y shape kind of a the design on a cat snake's head. So again, these are
Okay.
arboreal in nature, and they eat birds. So I've seen a live hunt of a common cat snake in Himachal.
Wow.
So we were trekking one of those nights looking for snakes, and suddenly
Mm-hmm.
a bulbul just flew out of a bush, and this was
Uh-huh.
around 12 in the morning. So we were wondering that
Mm-hmm.
at this point of the night, why is the bulbul flying out? So we looked closely, and a common cat snake had made its way into her nest.
Oh,
And of course, as I said, nature is not always beautiful, it is also brutal.
yeah.
The cat snake was eating the chicks.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
It is exactly. It is what it is. At that point of time, for a second, I thought I should stop. I should intervene, but then that's not how nature works, and I had no right to intervene in it. So
Yeah.
I just had to stand there and watch it, and I felt so bad. But then it's nature. There's nothing you can do,
Yeah.
if you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
They
So
need
then
to
there is
eat.
also, sorry.
They need to eat.
That's true. If I would have saved the chicks that day, maybe the snake would have died of hunger.
Yeah.
So you can't make that trade. That's not something that you just get to decide.
Yep. It's hard, but yeah, it's the.
Yes, of course. I mean, I at that point of time I was crying. I was so upset. I was like, this is not fair. These things are just born probably a couple of days ago, and they are getting eaten right in front of me. But I had no right to do anything, so I had to stand there
Yeah.
and watch.
Yep.
So next is a shield tail. Now shield tails are basically they stay underground in
Mm-hmm.
moist soil. During the
Mm-hmm.
daytime, if you lift like in rainforests and stuff, you won't get them in cities as much.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Okay.
if you lift a rock during the daytime, you'll find a shield tail under it, and the
Mm-hmm.
majority of their meal is a worm because they cannot open their mouth more than that.
Oh. Are they venomous?
No.
Okay.
Also, they are so small that they cannot take a bite. They won't be
Oh,
able to
okay.
bite. So the mouth
How
won't
small
open.
are they?
You could say roughly about this much. They're a little thicker,
One
but
second,
they
one
would be
second. How much? So it's like 10, 15 centimeters?
15 to 20 centimeters. 15 centimeters
Centimeters.
should be, yeah, not more
Okay.
than that.
Okay.
Then, so this is a hump-nosed pit viper. So hump-nosed pit
Oh.
vipers are found in dense plantations, coffee plantations, and hilly areas. So
Mm-hmm.
initially, a couple of years ago, their venom was not medically important. So people would believe that even if a hump-nosed pit viper bit you, you would not die. But over
Okay.
time, what happened was a lot of deaths started. A lot of deaths were recorded because of a hump-nosed pit viper's bite. So upon
Oh.
research, they realized that even hump-nosed pit vipers can cause fatalities. So there is a
Oh.
debate, there is a discussion going on in order to
Mm-hmm.
add the hump-nosed pit viper into the big five. Like
Okay.
from the big four, they want to make it to the big five and
Big
add the
five.
hump-nosed pit viper. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So the gear that I use. So for big
Okay.
cats, I have a Nikon D3500 paired with
Mm-hmm.
the 200 500 mm lens, and I
Mm-hmm.
also still have my 7300 mm lens, which I remove sometimes because I still enjoy shooting with it.
Okay.
For herping and macro photography, I use the Nikon D3500 with the 1855 And
Mm-hmm.
very recently, I've switched to the 105 macro lens along with an external flash from Godox and a Herping diffuser. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the setup is basically what it looks like. There's an external diffuser, a flash, and there's a diffuser on top of it. So it helps, diffusing the light so that the light is not too harsh on the subject, and
Yeah.
the colors don't get burnt. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason you use an external flash. The small ones are not very useful when you are doing macro photography because they don't diffuse the light that well, and you still get like a very burnt image. So the bigger the diffuser, the better
Okay.
the light, and the better and the more clear images you get. Like as I said, I was shooting with the 1855 for a pretty long time. So because I
Yeah.
had a good diffuser, the light was getting diffused, and I was getting comparatively good results for the 1855 lens.
That's great.
So I would like to talk about some common myths about snake, which I have heard growing up. I have heard so many people talk about. And once I got into this field, I learned and I saw and I experienced how ridiculous they are. And it's just some things that I would like to put out for the audience. So even if there are some people who are still scared because of these myths, I want to try and change their perspective towards snakes.
That's great.
So number one, snakes drink milk. So there is something called as Nag Panchami where people make cobras drink milk. Now, first of all, a reptile has no relation biologically with milk. They do not produce milk. The young ones don't have milk. There is no milk in their system in their entire diet. So then people ask that then why is the snake
Okay.
drinking the milk? The thing is, the people who own the
Mm-hmm.
snakes are basically starving them and not giving them water. Snakes do require water. Dehydrating, like
Okay.
a dehydrated snake, is something that is very common. So,
Mm-hmm.
in that case, what they do is they don't give any water to the snake for about 35-40 days.
Whoosh.
So finally, when this festival comes, the snake is so thirsty that anything that is liquid, it would just drink it.
Okay.
But many a times, the milk makes the snake very sick. It even causes death.
Oh.
So snakes do not drink milk at all. Snakes are reptiles. Reptiles have no relationship with milk. They do not make milk. The young ones do not have milk. There is no milk for reptiles, any reptiles for that matter of fact.
Okay.
Um, Second one is some snakes grow a beard as they get older.
What?
No, snakes do not grow beards as they get older. In fact, they do not grow hair anywhere. So that is again a complete myth. There is no part of their body that can grow hair. Snakes carry diamond on their foreheads. Okay, I have seen at least
Movies.
75 to 80 snakes. I can promise all of you all that I have never seen a diamond on the head. Okay, that is a promise I can make. It's not a thing. This is all because of Bollywood and
Yeah.
nicely showing these things. But no, snakes do not carry diamonds on their foreheads.
Mm-hmm.
Snakes remember you if you hurt them. No, snakes do not remember you if you hurt them. They have absolutely no this thing. They will obviously try to run away, but there's no memory that this person has hurt me and I have to go back and take revenge.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is if a snake is killed, its partner will trace you no matter wherever you are. Okay, now this I've heard personally when I was a child. But the thing is, ki again, no. Snakes don't have such memory that they will remember the face. And wherever you are is not possible. Snakes do not have Google Maps. So this none of this makes sense. Again, this is Bollywood. Thank you very much. But no.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Snakes found in India can spit venom. No, so there are spitting cobras, but you don't get spitting cobras in India.
Yeah.
Recent studies have shown the monocle cobra that is spitting venom, but the thing is, the venom is not direct, as in it's very uneven because the body is not made such that it spits venom. So yes, India, the
Mm-hmm.
monocle cobra does spit venom, but you cannot call it a spitting cobra because it does not. It's very uneven. So usually it's supposed to go somewhere. It's not going to go. So
Mm-hmm.
no snake in India yet. Uh, Sorry, can spit venom. The
Okay.
last one is snake dance to the tunes of snake charmers. Okay, snakes cannot hear, first of all. The reason that the snake moves when the charmer is moving is because the snake charmer and his instrument itself looks like a threat to the snake. And
Mm.
because of that, as in when the charmer is moving, the snake is
Mhm.
moving only in defense. So it's not a dance, it's just the snake is trying to defend itself, be ready to strike.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, it was really amazing. So now let's get into the questions. What are the precautions do you take while helping? That's from
So,
Nick.
can I reduce my PPT?
Yeah, yeah, I've done it already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so during herping, what we usually our basic thing is one, the guests that we take, they are not allowed to touch anything, not even a plant, not even a tree bark, absolutely nothing. As whereas gear is concerned, you have to have a torch, you have to have lead socks, you have to have gum boots. These are all for your protection, because in rainforest it is very easy to find leeches. Leeches don't cause any potential harm, but they are going to suck your blood, and it's not even going to hurt you. Like, even if there's a leech on you sucking your blood, you're not going to feel it unless and until it falls off and you actually feel the blood or somebody sees the blood coming out of you. But still, we don't want any of that happening, so we always, it's a mandate. Lead socks, gum boots, torches, all of that is a mandate.
Okay. So precautions is going to be all these steps, and there is another question. Being a girl, how do you find this field as a profession?
Very honestly, it has not been easy, because first of all, I'm at a very young age, so there are
Yeah.
people with 10 years experience that stand right next to me.
Yeah.
I remember my mom when she came to Tadoba for the first time, and
Mm-hmm.
where I was being her naturalist.
Mm-hmm.
So we had gone to this buffer, and she looked around, and she's telling me that, you're the only girl here. I said, yeah, I am. She's like, there is absolutely no woman here. I said, yeah, I know, but I am the first woman, and I kind of like that, because I see it in a way that maybe somebody who is scared to come into this field saying that I am a woman and there's nobody else, I hope that they see me and they come, because I'm here. I've been here
Yeah.
for 3 years. I'm
Yeah.
saying that it's not easy, because very often, so what happens is that if suppose a colleague of mine makes a mistake, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like, acha sir ne galti kiya. It happens, sir is there. If I do it, मैम ने गलती किया ना,
Yeah.
चलेगा, I don't. So yeah, but then again, it's your way. You have to figure how to tackle it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's quite a task. So, once how long it took you to get the acceptance from your family?
My parents have never said no to me. I have never, anything that I wanted to do in my childhood, never have they said no to me. I know that they have always had a fear. They till date have a fear. That this girl of ours is going into the jungle, and she's catching snakes and she's doing this and that. But I think my parents have been the reason I could have been in this field, because if they would have said no the first day, none of this would have happened. So I think they accepted it the first day. They're still accepting it. It's kind of a process, and I think it's always going to be like that. But the fact that they have encouraged me in every single step, it means a lot to me, and for me, that is their acceptance.
That's great. So, how did they handle the transition from the cats to the snakes?
So as it is, so I come from a very,
I mean, what did
my entire family is in the aviation industry, and they were like, what are you doing? Everybody still tells me that, yeah, what are you doing? Your father is an engineer, your brother's a pilot, your mom is a manager in Air India. Why are you going into a jungle? Why can't you just stay in an airport? And I was like, that's really not my cup of tea. So I mean, they're okay with it, I suppose, now, eventually.
yeah, I mean, when I see it, you are taking big cats, it's fine. You're still inside the vehicle most of the time.
inside the
Yes, you
seat.
do.
Now
Yeah,
I'm
or
out.
and closer to more deadly animals. So, in a
No,
common perspective, I'm not.
so what I did is initially when I would while I was on herping, the one thing that I always do is I am always connected to my parents. At any given point of time, they will know where I am. So initially, what I did is once I knew what I was doing in the field on herping, I whenever I could find the network, I would video call my parents. I would show them the behavior. I would show them how this is not trying. It's not even trying to harm me, so
Yeah.
eventually I think even they got interested in it. Nowadays they ask me questions about snakes, like when they say, hey, how did you take this picture, and did it try to do anything, is it a venomous, non-venomous snake, that kind of a thing.
That's nice. That's nice. Then give me 1 second. I am just scanning through the messages. Most of it is like
Please.
good messages, but it's not questions. So that's why I'm just scanning through them. Um, yeah. Do you have any specific location for herping
um
preference?
I would say that I absolutely love exploring Northeast India. um
Mm-hmm.
I really struggle with food because I'm a vegetarian. So food is always a
Same
problem
here.
with me over there. But Northeast India is very unexplored. So the kind of things you get to see there, it's just wonderful. It's very far away. It's not something you can go very often. But I think that
Uh-huh.
would be my favorite spot for hopping Northeast India, the entire Northeast India.
Okay. Okay. And now, if I need to go through the comments, it's quite difficult because there are, as I mentioned, you will be able to see in our Facebook as well as in our YouTube the amount of questions, amount of messages, mainly in YouTube. It's like a great Mahek, this is like was proud of you. I'm sure you will succeed, and we see you excelling in whatever you love. Absolutely fascinated by what I'm hearing about the moment, about your parents, how they support, and you don't know. So I definitely do request you to go through the messages and see
I'll do that. Thank
if
you,
possible, do
everybody.
message. And then
I
there
will.
is
I will.
Neil, there is a question. Have you had any such dangerous encounters with any of the snakes where you ended up in saying, wow, that was a close one?
Actually, no. So as I said, before I get around a snake, I make sure I know the kind of behavior that it has. I know the kind of strike range it has. I know whether it's a non-venomous or venomous snake. So I never put myself in a situation where I'm going to be like, oh, that was really close. Um, some part of me, the youngster in me wants that, oh, yeah, that was close. But then also the naturalist in me says, no, that's something I don't want in my career.
Okay, that's great. So, being a naturalist, I mean, have you taken any course to be a naturalist, or it's your experience?
Um,
I
I've
know that.
actually I've learned on the field. I would say
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
learned a lot on the field, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
learning. Of course, I don't think I'm ever going to stop learning.
Yeah,
But no, I haven't taken any particular course. I've
yeah.
just been on the field,
Mm-hmm.
and I've observed a lot around me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how I have been learning so far.
Okay. Yeah, then Tosh is asking any plans to publish your pics, photos?
Um, Honestly, I don't think I have come to that level yet, but I am hoping I get there someday, and I would
Okay.
maybe someday consider it.
Now you got some amazing collection of images from what you have shared, so I'm sure they are definitely worth publishing, and it's quite informative too.
Thank you so
Um,
much. I think I've been publishing snakes before big cats.
yeah, maybe you can think about, now you are like you started your journey with 56 species from here, and you can think about at least halfway through either a documentary or an ebook or eventually a book. That's
I would love
still
to.
an
Actually,
idea.
I would love to.
Yeah. What's your opinion about filming? I mean, would you prefer filming or photography?
I do enjoy filming, but most of the times that I am on safaris, in the past year and a half, I
Mm-hmm.
am with my guest. So
Okay.
my primary job at that point of time is not taking pictures. It's to be there in that moment with the guest, explaining things to them. So I
Yeah.
don't get the time to videograph. Of course, if I did get a chance, I would love to videograph. I do
Mm-hmm.
enjoy photography, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
yes, I would definitely love to videograph if I ever did get the chance.
Okay. Do you aspire to go ahead internationally to explore the wild? That's from Amen.
Um, Yes and no. I want to explore a lot more in India first. Of course, going abroad is on the bucket list, but my first priority would be exploring India
Mm-hmm.
because India has amazing wildlife.
Okay.
And as I said, a lot of parts of them
Mm-hmm.
are not even, really explored that much. So, yes, I would definitely like
Mm-hmm.
to travel abroad, but that's probably in another 2 or 3 years I'll consider it.
Great. Great. Yeah, keep us in mind. We do have a place in Masai Mara, Kenya.
Yes,
Whenever you are
I
ready,
definitely,
let us know.
definitely.
And likewise, whenever I'm coming to India next time, I would definitely love to do a helping trip with you. I'm being honest.
Please do.
I have, I'm not panic about snakes, but I'm still scared of snakes.
How about this? I
So
can promise you, I will make you fall in love with snakes. You come, and
I,
I will make you fall in love with them.
thank you. Thank you. So I think, yeah, that's all about it. But please do check the YouTube as well as Facebook. You have 100 messages to replay.
I definitely will. Thank you everybody for commenting and for your positive words. They
Oh,
really mean a lot to me.
there is one message right now that's from
Okay.
Manaska. I'm actually somewhat scared of snakes. I'm into butterflying, but every time I'm into the field, my mind tried to tell me that there is a Russell viper. How to avoid this thought?
Um, Honestly, the fear, if you are in a place where there are known to be Russell vipers, then of course you have to be very careful where you step. Um, as long as your thought is there, it's just in your head. If it's just your fear, you're just letting your fear get over you. Of course, I'm not saying that don't be cautious. Please make sure that where you're photographing there aren't any snakes. Ask the locals; they would know. But once you are sure that there aren't any snakes, then the fear is just in your head. You have to get it out of your head, you know. And honestly, when you speak to the local and they're going to tell you that there's nothing here, that's all you're going to need.
And Maniska, you're talking not only to a photographer, she is studying psychology as well. So she is kind of getting into that circle too. She can give
Yeah,
you
I'm
advice.
trying to
So
avoid that.
it's so dear, it was really, really inspiring, and that's a great volume of work. And you're really learning a lot. And okay, one more question from my side: how do you like to
Okay.
put yourself into the field of conservation as well? How do you think the way you are learning can add value to our world? As a photographer, as a conservationist, as a naturalist, how do you think you can put more light into this world?
If I would say that I want to work in any type of conservation, it would be snakes. Because I have seen people brutally killing snakes, and for no reason. I mean, for no fault of the snakes. So conservation, I would first love to start at snakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, your dad is here, I think. Much love from daddy. Well done.
Thanks,
And
Dad.
congrats. Your daughter is amazing.
Thank you.
It looks like Mahek got some connection issues. Oh, she's back. So that there was a message from your dad. He's really proud
Yeah,
of you.
he stole my network.
Are you there? Are you audible? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you can't hear me?
Oh,
Am I
yeah.
audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so he stole my
Yes.
network. I'll go and blame him
Yeah.
for the network error. Sorry.
Yeah. 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 So Manska again mentioned that your answer was really quite, high standard. The local knowledge is the key when it comes to
Yes, it
herping.
is. It is. It
So
honestly is,
there is a big,
because
yeah.
yes, because I make sure to speak to the locals when I'm in the field myself, when I'm in an unknown place. Hence, I am telling, since that's why I gave the answer.
Okay. Then that's from Surekha Naik. Very interesting webinar, Mahek. We are proud of you. Your passion. I mean, see, it's all good words. I was just trying to see if there is a question in it, because if I'm going to talk about one question, one message, I need to talk about 100 messages. So thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for being so supportive. And
Yes, thank you very much,
dear, this was
everybody.
definitely a visual treat. And the information you shared is definitely add more value to it, especially if anybody who is scared of snakes can kind of feel one step closer to a snake. So that
Yes,
makes
yeah.
a lot of, yeah. So that's it. Thank you once again to all of you, as well as
Thank you for
on
having
behalf
me
of
here
Paws Race.
very much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a great evening.
And good luck with your company. I mean, your
Thank you so much.
organization to grow it. Good luck.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you very much.
So that was Mahek and her journey into the wild, how she started and first safari till where, and in a year's time, getting into a company, starting to lead tours, and what an inspirational journey. So, in case if you know somebody like this and you would like to talk to them, please do send their details to us. We can either contact them or you can contact them and ask them to contact us. But I am definitely in love with the images where this girl shared with us, and we will have something interesting coming soon, hopefully, most likely on 30th. With that note, I'm going to say bye. You all take care. Wish you all a wonderful day.